Hi everyone, namaste, and a very warm greeting to everyone joining us today. I would like to take a moment to welcome you all to our yet another virtual webinar series on dignified menstruation that has been organized by the Global South Coalition for Dignified Menstruation every month for this year. My name is Sharmila, and I'm here on behalf of the Secretariat Office of the Global South Coalition itself. And to give you a bit of a background of our organization, Global South Coalition for Dignified Menstruation, it is a survivor-led network that was established in 2019, mostly to amplify and strengthen the advocacy on dignified menstruation globally, leading up to the movement that emerged from the Global South itself. So the coalition now brings together activists, researchers, policymakers, youth leaders, community organizations across regions to challenge menstrual discrimination in various spaces. If you want to know more about our organization or want to learn about our work, you can visit our website at www.dignifiedmenstruation.org, and you can also follow us on our social media channel. We are available on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and also on YouTube. So you can look into our work in more details on our channels. So, so to give you a bit of a background on the webinar series that we've been conducting. So this series is a part of our learning cohort designed within the Sangpur Song project to create a feminist, inclusive, and political learning ecosystem uh, centered on dismantling menstrual discrimination and promoting dignified menstruation globally, uh, but mostly rooted in the Global South. So this project is supported by AFD, and we have four implementing partners, that being Equipup, Force Feminista, PSI Europe, and the Global South Coalition itself. So before we begin, I have a couple of announcements I will do here. So I know we have a lot of participants joining us here today from so many different time zones and countries. So please take a moment to introduce yourself in the chat box by sharing your name, country, organization, and the scope of work that you do. So it will be easier for us to, get back to you, or, if someone want to collaborate or even talk to you, basically we can do that even after the meeting. And we also have another announcement is that we have interpretation, so like simultaneous interpretation available. So you can just change the channel as you wish. We have French and Spanish interpretation available. So you can do that through the Zoom setting. And if you're having any difficulties accessing translation, please reach out to me or anyone from the Global South Coalition. We would be able to help you out on that. And for today's webinar, it is a very special session indeed, as we will be discussing what dignified menstruation really means within the SRHR framework, including HIV, STIs, and CSE mostly. And we hope to for today's conversation, we hope to explore the linkages between dignified menstruation and SRHR, but also unpacking key gaps in policy and practices. Also by centering in intersectional and youth-led perspectives and identifying more inclusive and right-based approaches to advance dignity, bodily autonomy for all menstruators. So to begin our conversation, I would like to invite our speakers to the panel. We have two amazing panelists joining us today. First, it is my pleasure to introduce Rita Puri. Rita is a public health professional, youth advocate, and youth intersectional feminist from Nepal, dedicated to advancing sexual and reproductive health and rights and the intersection with mental health. Her work spans from grassroots community engagement to high level policy dialogues, ensuring that the voices and realities of young people are meaningfully represented in decision making spaces. She also serves as a board member at Yosan, which is an organization in Nepal and has collaborated with organizations such as UA, Restless Development Nepal, and UNICEF ROSA to amplify youth voices on bodily autonomy, inclusive health services, and policy. Welcome to the panel, Rita.
Yes.
Our second speaker is Ipsita Dwivedi. Ipsita is a gender rights researcher and communication specialist based in New Delhi. She develops creative methodologies to make complex issues accessible and engaging. Previously, she worked with the International Planned Parenthood Federation, Collective Impact, and UNGEL, GEI, UNG, GEI, sorry. Her research includes youth sexual health rights and feminist funding with Plan International UK and Walking the Talk. Thank you both for joining us today. Um, I will just begin with the question, just keeping in mind that we don't have a lot of time as well. So for the both of you, you have been working in advocacy and research, mostly including SRHR and also advocating SRHR within younger population and adolescents as well. So when we talk about dignified menstruation in the context of SRHR, uh, with that I mean also including HIV, STIs, and CSE. What do you think is the biggest disconnect right now between how it is understood and how it is actually, it shows up in people's lived realities? What do you feel is the biggest disconnect? So this is an opening question for both of you. Maybe we can start with Rita and then we move to Ipsita later on.
Yeah, so thank you so much for the question. One of the biggest disconnect I see as an CSE peer educator or even, as an SRHR advocate, is that still menstruation is largely discussed in a clinical way or just as an hygiene issue. But in reality, menstruation is more deeply connected to our bodily autonomy, our rights, our choices, and even decision-making power. So we still focus on a lot about biology, but young people lived realities are even more than that, right? We have questions about pain, mood change, relationships, discharge, irregular periods, infection, and whether what we are experiencing is normal or not. But yet these conversations are often very excluded and kept far away from SRG and CSC spaces.
Yeah. Yeah, I completely agree with that, Rita. As you said, that normally when we talk about menstruation, it's mostly, centered in hygiene and product mostly. But when we look deeper, there's, so much more behind that. And since you also work with young people a lot and you advocate for them also in the policy spaces, I would like to know from your perspective, from your, from the lived realities that you've faced through your work. Um, how do you think that menstrual discrimination operates as a form of control over bodily autonomy, particularly for adolescents who are just starting to navigate SRHR? Like, how does it affect? Because when we look at menstruation, it is mostly also attached to a dignity issue. And when you're faced with that while you're just starting to navigate SRHR, and how does it affect, throughout your adolescence or just throughout your life? How does it affect, especially among adolescents? We would love to hear on that.
So, what I have observed while working with, especially with adolescent and even me being a young person myself, is that menstruation discrimination operates so deeply in our everyday life that even we don't even recognize it as a form of control, right? We
Mm-hmm.
grow up seeing, restriction around us and from a very early age that this is so normalized and internalized that we just feel that, okay, this is just a part of being a person with a uterus rather than something that we can question. And this normalization itself feels so political to me because when this discrimination becomes cultural, it becomes automatically becomes invisible, right? And adding on to this, for an example, in our country, this control often begins with language. We
Mm-hmm.
often use terms as porosorico, which means needing to distance oneself during menstruation, or nochuni, which means, a state of being untouchability. So this immediately reframes menstruating body as impure, polluting, or even socially separate. And before adolescents fully understand their bodies about menstruation, they are already learning that their body needs a surveillance, right? Their body needs to be restricted from a certain part. And then this translates into everyday control, from what we eat to the clothings we wear to participation, and even who do we interact with, and being told not to enter certain spaces, not to see male figures in the family, and not to move freely or directly limits our autonomy, right, over our own bodies and environment. And what makes this more concerning to me is that how silence is reinforcing control. When menstruation itself becomes unspeakable, adolescent also becomes very uncomfortable discussing about their other SRHR aspect. If a young person is taught that talking about menstruation is shameful, then conversation around contraception, consent, pleasure, sexuality, even about their desires or even other reproductive health concern becomes even more difficult. And fear around menstruation often becomes fear around SRHR itself, and this silence create fear within us, and this fear also limits our agency. And I also think that it is important for us to see how this is being socially reinforced, right? Many of the non-menstruators grow up seeing their sisters, classmates, or friends even hide stain, during menstruation, miss their school, or become silent during menstruation. And we always need to think that when does a person's stand skirt become something to laugh at in a classroom? Right? We need to ask, who taught these non-menstruators that menstruation is shameful? Who taught them that another bodily experience becomes the source of humiliation to them? So, and these attitudes are not natural, right? They are socially learned through silence, stigma, and often exclusion. This also shapes how a menstruating person should behave in a public space. And at the same time, non-menstruators themselves are often excluded from the conversation about menstruation. And during adolescent, it is a stage where we are curious. We have a lot of questions and we need answers. We need honest answers. But when menstruation is framed as not their issue, then it sends a harmful message to everyone that, okay, this is very shameful and this is a solely a burden someone has to manage who just menstruates, not others, not for other people. So excluding them from the conversation also prevents empathy within them, accountability, and even collective understanding. And also, the experience differ based on caste, geography, class, disability, gender identity, and even access to education. And we have seen, especially adolescent in rural areas or marginalized communities, or even in conservative households, this restriction become even more intense. And especially for transgender and non-binary menstruators, menstruation being both invisibility and exclusion, because our system is still failing to recognize their needs and reality. So, menstrual discrimination operates across multiple levels, from language to norms to restriction to silence and even through socialization. So, limiting how adolescents understand, express, and make decision about their body, about their own bodies. And it is also not always visible as in control, but it is continuously shaping our autonomy. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Rita. I think you covered it all. And as a girl growing up who grew up in Nepal, I could like totally relate to all those things that you said. I think other participant here could also relate to what you said in some level. And like you said, it has become internalized into our system, so well that at times people don't even see this as a problem. So when that happens, we are far away from, finding a solution because we are not being able to identify it as a problem in the first place. So with that, I will move to Ipsita on your thought uh, on on what do you think is the biggest disconnect right now between how menstrual discrimination is understood and how it actually shows up in people's lived realities? Maybe you could share some of your insights from your research that you've been conducting. Yeah.
Thank you, Sharmila, for asking the question and inviting us to this panel, and also Rita for setting the context really well. So I think one of the biggest disconnect is that systems treat menstruation as simply a hygiene or a biological or access issue, while people experience it as something that is shaped by largely by stigma, power, and our everyday social realities. So, what menstruation is not framed as is as a rights-based issue. And when it's not framed like that, we end up over individualizing it. We often reduce it to just products, hygiene, and awareness, as if the issue is that simple and it's just simply about access. However, globally, organizations such as UNICEF, FPA have also highlighted that menstrual stigma impacts education, health, and bodily autonomy. So, what we are missing is that menstruation is deeply shaped by systems of inequality, such as gender, caste, class, and access to infrastructure. In fact, the recent developments in India also make this very clear. So in January 2026, the Supreme Court of India recognized menstrual health as part of a fundamental right to life, dignity, and body autonomy. However, this was a major shift, a significant shift for us, because it shifted menstruation from being seen as a welfare issue to a constitutional rights issue. And it also explicitly acknowledged what we often call menstrual poverty is not just lack of products, but it is a structural issue. For example, the lack of toilets, water, and disposable systems, which often lead to many girls or menstruators to leave schools. Uh, this which affects their long-term educational and economic outcomes. So menstruation is not just a personal experience, it is highly shaped by how institutions are designed. However, but even after this shift, there is still a huge gap. Basically, how the research has shown that focusing merely on products and infrastructure alone does not fully address the menstrual discrimination that is faced by most of us in our society. And because and this is because discrimination is also experienced through stigma, shame, social norms, restrictions, exclusion from public and social lives. So when access improves, dignity does not automatically follow. And this is where we need to move from simply a menstrual hygiene lens to a menstrual dignity framework. Um, and this framework or this dignity based approach would ask different questions. It would ask questions such as that can people who menstruate can do it without any fear, stigma, restriction? Do they have the autonomy and the choice? Are there diverse experience recognized across the caste, class, disability, gender identities? So if menstruation is only framed as a hygiene issue, then dignity becomes something that you can buy. However, dignity is not a product. It is highly shaped by power, by norms, and by systems. And from a communications or a policy perspective, when we frame something narrowly, it also gets addressed very narrowly. And that is why menstruation often remains disconnected from sexuality education frameworks, especially in my context, the South Asian context, even though in reality, these experiences are deeply interconnected. So what we're missing is not just better access, but we're missing a huge shift in how we understand menstruation itself. And for me, dignified menstruation is not just simply about access; it's also about agency and recognition within the systems.
Yeah. Thank you, Ipsita. Thank you for flagging that, what we are missing, by not including dignified menstruation is a structural and right-based issue within the SRHR framework. We're not just missing, menstruation and access to products and hygiene, but we're also missing so many things in the broader systemic spaces like education, economic access, power, relations, bodily autonomy, and all those things, and how important is it to frame dignified menstruation, like dignity, centering the dignity while we are planning SRHR and also the CSE frameworks and all that. Thank you for that. With that, I will move to Rita. You've also mentioned briefly during your one of your answers previously, because you mentioned how some of the population, you mentioned specified transgender communities, how they have been excluded when we talk about menstruation. Based on that, can you elaborate, like, from your intersectional feminist lens, whose experience are being excluded, in a broader, like, in addition to transgender community, especially when we talk about CSEs and youth programming, because it is really important for young people to understand all these scenarios through CSEs, and programming that happens very early in life, so it gets better when they grow up. The learning in that way. Could you elaborate on that?
Yeah. As far as I have seen more in communities or even in discussion space or advocacy spaces, that still many experiences are still being excluded because menstruation is often presented through a very narrow and standardized lens, I would say. And whenever we Google or search women's health in research portal, then one of the thing that keeps on popping up more is that about menstruation. There has been so many studies, so many information gathering, from AI integration to use of chatbot and many more. And this shows that we are not definitely behind. Yeah, right. But yet most conversation are still cisgender, school going, urban adolescent, while excluding transgender and non-binary menstruators, adolescent with disabilities, and young people in rural and remote communities, caste oppressed communities, and even migrants, refugees, and those living in poverty or crisis setting. And even looking at simple things, whenever we open a textbook, right, or even look at some advocacy papers or any materials, we whenever it's about menstruation, we see a girl, a female, rather than we never see a trans men, carrying a sanitary pad, maybe in an advertisement in TV. So this thing has normalized a lot. And another thing is that we are also rarely centering adolescent living with chronic pain during menstruation, PCOS, endometriosis, HIV, or even having someone having irregular periods or reproductive health condition. We just not always have, everybody knows menstruation is natural process, right? But nobody answers and talks about the mood swings we have, pain we have, and many more during menstruation. And many young people still silently believe that their pain is normal because our system are still failing to create a space for this type of conversation, right? And another exclusion, more I see and I have felt personally, is that CSE focuses more on biology, reproduction, our reproductive organs, autonomy, and more. But it doesn't focuses more on emotional experiences. CSE doesn't addresses fear, same, even body image, about anxiety. I used to, if I remember thinking about back in my school, I used to always get anxious until when I reached the bathroom, whether there is any stain in my skirt or not. So it also shapes our self-confidence and self-worth, but we never discuss about that in CSE and in SRHR spaces. And importantly, even non-menstruators are also excluded from the meaningful engagement. We cannot transform menstrual stigma if one part of the society is kept outside of the conversation, right? And looking through an intersectional feminist approach always reminds us that there's no single common menstrual experience. System of caste, again, even Ispita also mentioned that patriarchy, albism, poverty, heteronormativity, even geography shapes how we experience menstruation, different for every different people. So if our programs only centers the most visible experience, then many adolescents will still continue to remain unseen. Yeah.
Indeed, Rita. I mean, menstrual, experience of menstruation is different for different people of different ages, different people living with different conditions, and even different gender. So it is really, really important to incorporate that very early in life through CSE and youth programming. And thank you so much for flagging that out. So with that, I'll move to Ipsita. From your research and policy work that we do, can you share one example of how current SRHR or education system, we also discussed briefly earlier a bit, to give to move into a bit of a depth. Can you also share how current SRHR or education systems has unintentionally reinforced menstrual discrimination instead of addressing it? I mean, we try, but we don't try to go in the depth like Rita mentioned. Like we don't think about the intersectionality. We don't think about inclusivity. Even if we do, there are a lot of communities, people, they're missing. So in that way, while trying to address it, are we somehow, you know unintentionally reinforcing menstrual discrimination on its own? What do you feel?
Thank you. Thanks, Sharmila, for that question. So, I would like to start by sharing an example from one of the research I did in 2024 around comprehensive sexuality education with young people here in New Delhi, India. And then I would also like to connect it to other broad research policy trends and data that we've seen. So, in many school settings, menstruation is included in the curriculum. So, on paper, it appears that the issue is being addressed. But when we look more closely, the way menstruation is framed, it is quite narrow, as also Rita had mentioned. So the focus is largely on menstrual hygiene, basic biology, which is how to manage the body, while the broad conversations around consent, relationships, bodily autonomy, gender norms, pleasure, uh, emotional and social experiences are either missing or are very weakly addressed in the curriculum. So one of the participants in my research, they very well captured by saying that the C in comprehensive sexuality education is missing. Um, and I think that line is very, very important because it shows that menstruation is being taught in isolation, very much disconnected from the larger SRHR framework that actually shapes how young people experience their bodies. In this sense, menstruation becomes something very technical or logistical rather than something that is social or political. And this fragmentation is not just a classroom issue, it also reflects on how broader pattern or how our systems approach menstruation. So even at a policy level, including in India, a lot of the interventions have heavily focused on product distribution, on infrastructure, for example, pad distribution schemes, the school-based facilities. And while these are very critical and very important, um, research and advocacy has shown that the access alone does not address menstrual discrimination, as I've also previously mentioned, because discrimination is not simply about lack of products, it's also about stigma, social norms, unequal power relations, as I've mentioned. So what we see is that the systems often address what is visible to them, what is measurable to them, like product access, and they do not address what is harder to shift, which is the structural inequalities. And coming back to the classrooms, a lot of times when I was young in school, a lot of times when we would discuss menstruation, people would feel like the teacher themselves would feel very discomfort. Or there would also be other like silence or mockery, where boys would respond with jokes or inappropriate comments, which made it a very unsafe or a very uncomfortable environment for girls. And obviously, this had a very real impact because it creates a space where girls start feeling unsafe, judged, or do not want to participate in these discussions. And that leaves a lot of questions about their bodies. So even though the system is technically providing education, it is also reproducing the stigma in the process. And I think this is where we need to pay a lot of attention on, and how these systems function, on not just what they include, but also how they operate in practice. And I would also like to extend another example where this shows this limitation is very well reflected. Um, a lot of menstrual health interventions, especially in India, are school centric. So they assume that young people are in school and that the schools are the primary site of intervention. But what happens is that it often exclude communities which we never really talk about, such as out of school adolescents, young people from marginalized caste or tribal communities, those who drop out early due to child marriage or labor, or gender diverse individuals who also menstruate. So even when systems try to address menstruation, they're not reaching everyone, and in some cases, they're also reinforcing existing inequalities. And this connects us to a broader issue, which is how menstruation is often framed as simply an adolescent issue rather than something that affects people from across their entire life course. So the focus becomes simply just on managing menstruation in school rather than understanding how it is a lifelong health, dignity, and participation. And I think when we put all of this together, we start to see a much larger systematic pattern, because again, like I said, the education system and SRHR programming, there's a strong focus on delivering information, and not much on shifting the norms and enabling agency. So in another research, in the research, another participant had added that a lot of young people feel empowered in educational spaces, but they experience a very different reality at home, which means they often feel like they're living a dual life because they feel very empowered. They learn about themselves, their bodies. However, when they go back home, they feel like they have to again perform the gender. They again have to um, deal with the patriarchal norms in their houses. So they have the information and the knowledge, but they do not have the ability or the agency to act on it. And I think this is where the system really falls short and kind of reinforces gender norms, because it is not enough to provide knowledge if the conditions to use that knowledge do not exist. And right now, I think we are more focused on access and visibility, but not, like I said, agency, power, and lived experiences.
Oh yeah, very, very well said, Ipsita. While we are doing all this work, extensive work, indeed, in menstruation, but we are still lacking to address the root cause and just focusing on issues that are visible. So while you were sharing your experiences, I just I remember the health lesson like on menstruation I got in school. Like my teacher came to class and he just said like one sentence. There's something bad going on women's body once they menstruate. All these bad things goes, comes out, and the women body becomes healthier and better. So this is the only thing that I learned on menstruation in my school. And when you hear that at school from a teacher who you idealize so much, and the amount of impact it makes in your young growing adolescent body who's just trying to navigate SRHR and hold these awkward things. And it until so many years later on, it took me a long time to actually understand, there's a different part of it, like which is completely wrong to what we've been taught. So this happens so much even now. Thank you so much for flagging this out. And that, uh, with that, I will just move to Rita for a new question. So my question to you is if if dignified menstruation were truly treated as an entry point to SRHR and CSE, what would need to fundamentally change in how we design youth-led programs, services, and spaces? Because you have been working extensively with adolescent people and also in CSEs, and also through your experience and what works and what does not work. Um, yeah, what would that be? Like, what would look different if we incorporate dignified menstruation as an entry point? What would look different, when we look back to the young people and we can say, okay, we incorporated dignified menstruation, and this is something that changed for the better. Yeah.
Yes, thank you so much for that question. I think this question is also very important in the current scenario, what the world is going through. There's a lot of anti-right movements going on, a lot of fundings are there for anti-right movements, but the funding is being reduced for our advocacy work. So if we see dignified menstruation, as an entry point of our CSE and SRHR, even youth programming, then I think first thing we need to do is stop, designing programs for young people, but we design programs with young people. Right? There's a very famous and common saying that we need to bring young people to the table. We need to bring young people to the table. But it doesn't make sense if the table was built by the adults, right? Who built the table through their lens only of an issue that we are facing. So it's high time that we create a table together, because we young people have already we are living with stigma, right, in different forms in our daily life. And if we do this, then I believe that youth spaces would become spaces where adolescent and even us, we are allowed it to question our norms, not just receive information. Right now, many programs are focused on giving correct knowledge, but very few creates a room for us to critically reflect why these seem exist inside us, right? Who is being benefited from our silence, and how these gender norms also shape our lives and even our choices and our decision making abilities. And what would look different is that adolescent would also not feel embarrassed to carry a sanitary pad openly. These are just simple things, and ask questions about our bodies, and seek healthcare services, and even discuss about sexuality, consent, our fears, our insecurities as well. And healthcare services would also be very non-judgmental, confidential, disability friendly, and most importantly, gender affirming. And we would also see more intergenerational conversation happening around, which is, I think, very important in this aspect. And we want more parents, teachers, healthcare workers, religious and faith leaders coming together, and even community leaders coming together, not just as a gatekeepers, but also as an ally in creating and supporting environment, because we cannot practice bodily autonomy if our system around us to continues to punish or silence us. So, and finally, I think success should also, as Ispita has already mentioned, success should also be not just measured by the numbers of pads being distributed, right? Numbers of awareness session being conducted. But now we should also measure that how many adolescents actually felt safe about talking about menstruation or even other SRHR issue. How informed are they now? Are they confident or not? And are they now able? Do they have enough resources in their own hand that they can make decision about their body and know what are the choices available for them? So now they are already capable, and they should be influencing policies, designing curriculum, the research work we do, advocacy we do, and even be in the decision making spaces and having meaningful participation, right? And this will definitely transform how adolescents themselves engage with SRHR throughout their entire lives. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Rita. So while you were, yeah, I actually very well resonate with what you just said. Like we design programs with the young people, for the young people, bringing them to the table together. So when we look at the Nepal context, I'm not sure if this is same in India, but in Nepal we do have these clubs, like, or the committees that I think in the ward level, I'm not very sure, they have this community who are, like regulating like child clubs or youth clubs, and they are actually supposed to bring all the young people in the board and plan things together, policies and all that. while that remains in like policies and in paper and documents, I just wanted to know, because you have so much of information and we just want to extract it all as much as we can in this 1 hour, just to listen to your views on that. How is it actually happening in practice? Because in paper it looks really good. I did one policy review last year, actually in September, and it was very clean. We have like a very good set of policy and the committee we have in ward level, which is really nice. But when we actually look into the practice and the realities, how is this coming up? How is it shaped?
Yeah. So, in Nepal, there's also, as you mentioned, there are a lot of child clubs which are initiated by local government or even schools as well. And now, currently, it has in few years that, especially in school committees, it is mandatory to have at least one adolescent in the community so that their experiences, voices are heard. But again, when we go at the ground level, things are again tokenistic that we call, right? They are there, they are of course in the table, they know what issue is being discussed, but they don't know the process, right? The decisions has been already made. To a few extent, I also want to acknowledge that there are a lot of a few local governments who have been taking this very seriously as well. There are a few schools that I had opportunity to work on with. We established menstrual hygiene rooms, sitting with together with these adolescents who are the members of these committees, and they are now taking leadership roles even to manage those, always raise their voice in the schools to allocate certain amount of a budget. So it morely now depends on who is at the leadership position, right? Because sometimes we have the power, but we don't have the space to exercise it. So yeah, that is happening in our country, and hopefully, as you mentioned, the policies in the papers are very good, but hopefully these small changes are happening, and yeah, hopefully in coming days it will be more. Yeah.
Yep, hoping for the best.
Yeah.
Moving on with Ipsita. So my question to you would be like, so what does because we talked about shifting powers and yeah, shifting powers to address the root cause of menstruation and menstrual discrimination. So, what do you think? Like, what does a decolonized and evidence-based approach to dignified menstruation look like in practice, especially, uh, when we talk about research funding and also global health narratives? How can we like shift the power on that?
Thank you. Thanks, Sharmila. So, for me, a decolonized and evidence-based approach to dignified menstruation would begin with a very fundamental shift, which is how we frame menstruation itself. Menstruation is a natural process. It is an everyday bodily process. So the challenge is not menstruation. It is the social, institutional, structural conditions that shape how menstruation is experienced. So a decolonized and evidence-driven approach would begin with a very fundamental shift in understanding who produces the knowledge, what counts as evidence, and whose experiences shape the systems. So right now, much of the global health narratives or indicators, they are very they're structured in a very top-down way, which is often the global north would have the indicators set for it, and so the knowledge is often produced by the institutions who are based out of here. Or historically have been based there and measured through standardized indicators. And then they are translated into programs that are expected to work across very diverse contexts, which is the majority world context or the global south context, as we would say. And what happens is that it often does is that it prioritizes what is measurable, as I've already mentioned, like product access, school attendance, service delivery. Um, over what is meaningful, that is people's lived experiences. So the first shift in a decolonized approach is to recognize that the lived experience is not just anecdotal, it is actual evidence. So which means that we move from data extraction to co-creation, using more participatory methodologies, treating communities, especially young people, as knowledge holders. As already Rita mentioned, that they should be given a space on the table. In fact, there should be a bigger table or maybe no table at all. We should all be sitting in a on a mat discussing things that are more meaningful to us. And I've seen this very strongly in youth-led spaces. For example, with my work, one of my research with Worldwide WCA, where young people are not just receiving information, but they're also shaping the conversations around their bodies, health, and rights. And following this would be the second shift is in the funding. So a lot of current funding models also prioritize same, like the scale, visibility, quick outcomes. So the investments tend to go into things that are easy to measure. That's why our governments also focus more on infrastructure and quick outcomes. So what does not get funded or gets underfunded is the slower and the more complex work of how do we create awareness around shifting norms? How are we building safe spaces where people feel comfortable sharing, safe spaces where girls do not feel the need to drop out or do not feel uncomfortable when talking about menstruation? And finally, how does it support their agency, their choice? So a decolonized funding approach would mean that we trust local and youth-led organizations. We invest more in long-term community-driven work. We fund movements, and allowing communities to define what dignity looks in their own context. So, because as I said, like dignity is not a universal template, it is contextual, it is lived, it is relational. And finally, the third shift is in the narratives. How we talk about menstruation shapes how we understand it. So, right now, menstruation is often framed very narrowly. And while it is important to look at access and hygiene, they don't reflect the actual reality of what is happening, or what women go through every day. So in my work with IPPF, especially in communications, one of the key challenges has been shifting language from management to dignity. This also means that using the language and centering autonomy rather than control, representing diverse menstruators across gender identities and locations, um, moving away from narratives of shame, silence, or even solutions to a more rights-based narrative, agency-based narrative, more resilient narratives around menstruation. Because often the global narratives are shaped by institutions rather than by people who are actually experiencing these realities. It also means shifting who tells these stories, and that's a very important aspect of decolonized approach. So a decolonized approach will always center community voices, in our context, youth voices. So it's not just in storytelling, but it also helps in shaping the policy and the programming itself. So when we bring all of this together, a decolonized and an evidence-based approach is not just about changing methods or language, it is about shifting power. And as I had started, power is in who defines this knowledge, who receives the funding, and who shapes the narrative. So ultimately, menstruation is not something that should be fixed. Decolonized approach would mean that we should transform the conditions that shape how it is lived, and who gets to define it. Yeah.
Perfect. Very well said, Ipsita. I was just also just reading this research in Nepal context, I think just last week, and now the government has started providing menstrual products in school for girls, and but the attendance rate is still declining because they only focused on product distribution. They didn't listen to what the girls are actually needing. Turns out the WAS facility was not well designed, and that was the reason why girls were dropping out even with the product available at the school. So like this research also, and what you also said, it reflects how important it is to highlight lived experience in all the work that we do, and all the policies and programmings that comes sent with that. So we are almost at the end of the webinar, so I'll just take a pause our discussion for a while and just see if we have any questions from the audience. If you have any questions or comments, or just want to share your thoughts, please raise your hand, or you can also open your mic and just ask questions or share your thoughts. Or you can also write your questions, comments in the chat box so I can read it out. I'm guessing we don't have questions right now. So while we wait for the audience to share their questions or thoughts, just one last quick question or just a thought for both of you. One thing, if you are to recommend, what would be the one thing you recommend, stop doing, and one thing that we should start doing to advance dignified menstruation within SRHR system? We already discussed like so many, like in depth we discussed already, but one thing, like the urgent, most urgent thing that you would recommend, what would it be? Maybe we will start with Rita and then move to Ipsita again.
So I think one of the most important thing that we need to highly stop doing is treating menstruation or people who menstruate only as a recipient of the information instead of recognizing them as a political actor with their lived expertise. Too often, adults decide what young people should know about menstruation while avoiding the conversation they actually want to have, right? So, this approach keeps us informed just enough to manage ourselves, but not empowered enough to question our existing system. So, when we just focus, again, repeating focus on products or awareness campaign, we erase the deeper realities, restriction, even exclusion. And one thing we need to start doing is building an accountability within our system, because when we talk about dignified menstruation, it cannot be achieved only through awareness campaigns or individual behavior change, right? We need schools, healthcare system, policymakers, medias, journalists, communities must also be accountable for the environment they are creating around us. And we need a system where we young people can report about discrimination safely, right? We can access respectful healthcare and even have that access to influence the policies that shapes our lives and see our realities reflected in the curriculum or even in the public discourse. And because real progress is not when we simply learn how to cope this stigma better. I think it is when the system around us, stops producing this stigma in the first place. So yeah.
Okay. We'll move to Ipsita now.
Thank you. And I think Rita very well concluded it. But also just to add, there are many things I feel that we stop doing. But and start doing a lot more. But I think one of the things would be we need to stop to kind of conclude also what I've said is that we need to stop treating dignity as something, menstruation dignity as something that can be delivered through services alone. It is about how people are seen, heard, and valued within systems. It is about their agency to make decisions about their bodies. And I think what we need to start doing to make that happen is to start listening differently. That is to listen to the young people, to the community voices, to their lived experiences, not just as feedback, but as knowledge that really shapes and designs our SRHR systems in the first place. Because when we start to shift who we listen to, we also shift what becomes possible. So, thank you.
Perfect. Very well said. Let's see if we have any questions. No. And with that, we've also come to the end of the webinar. And before we close, I'd like to thank the speaker today with the panelists we have today, Rita and Ipsita, for thank you so much for sharing such powerful reflection and for grounding this conversation in both lived realities, and also we also discussed a bit in a system level insights. So today's discussion, what I've learned from the session is like, you know, it shows us that dignified menstruation is not just a standalone issue. It is deeply interconnected with an SRHR framework, with access to information, with bodily autonomy, and ultimately with power relation and patriarchy. When menstruation is excluded from the conversation, when it is excluded from the SRHR framework, we are not just missing a topic. We're not just missing a topic on menstruation. We are reinforcing the very inequality we are trying to address from the beginning. So with that, I hope you all will carry out your, incredible work that you've been doing on menstruation, and carry out this conversation even after we close this webinar in your daily day-to-day life at work with your colleague or friend. And with that, we hope we would be able to finally, be able to create a world free of discrimination for all the menstruators. With that, I would like to wrap up the session today, and we hope to see you again in our next webinar series next month. Thank you so much, Rita, Ipsita, and everyone joining us today through different time zones and countries. Thank you so much. Have a great rest of the day.
Good afternoon. Good evening, rather.
It's afternoon in my part of the world, so it's okay.
Oh, it's also good evening here.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank
Bye.
Bye.